county brings tourism to the village.
Correct, oh yeah, there's, absolutely, absolutely. I'm not disputing that whatsoever. But that's why we're coming here and going, cause we don't have the pocketbook to go, oh, just fix the bridge.
Regardless of,
What it is, we might think.
which entity owns it, there's no guarantee you're gonna get that funding either, right?
We know who owns it. It's
Well,
not
but
us.
okay,
With
but
the
I mean,
funding,
but
right.
in all fairness, there's a share of interest in it for all three municipalities. I mean, we cross it, if the bridge falls down,
Yeah.
I mean, it closes off the road, you ain't got no business, and then you write the tourism that goes to the village.
Well, just like Waterville too.
Well, you know, it's just, it's a tourist thing, and it's an attraction for, so everybody would lose, but, we also should be, friendly to.
Right, and if it's a bridge program, that we can extend the life to get to the bridge program, the county has a big say in that, and the county obviously has this on our radar.
Yeah, that's how it all came to be.
Yeah, so that's really what we wanna do, is find out, have a meeting, with you guys and see where it goes, but we need authorization to do that, John, you had a comment?
Yeah, quick question. Why wouldn't you take all four entities that share in the bridge and have them apply for grants independently and see if you can muster up enough money to replace the thing?
Because the application usually says, who's the owner, and if you have.
Can't you do a co-application because everyone benefits off of it?
I think by having, people signing on with it, you may get there that way, but again, it depends upon the program. There's another program that we had last year that, was just for infrastructure, and it was scattered around the whole state, and they started out at 90% funding, but when it actually came to selecting projects, they wanted to spread it around and up 50%. Okay, but 50% better than nothing, but the local program for the Bridge Place program is 80% federal money, 20% local. And, there's another, program out there that may, come up because of the federal infrastructure plan. The whole idea, I think, is to get to a point where we're going, number one. Number two, the stuff that the inspection report calls out as, you have to take care of it right now. I think that's the part that we gotta, after we have this meeting, to see where we go. But, I think, there would be, some severe screaming if we just said, oh yeah, we'll take that bridge, and get a big outlay here.
So right now, you're just looking for a motion to have a meeting, everyone get together, that's what we're looking for.
Jim Mills and
Yes.
myself, yeah.
So,
Well, that, yeah,
not
that's,
making any
that's,
decisions, you're going in informative.
No,
I make a
we're not gonna
motion,
make any decisions, but we wanna be able to meet, because again, I still have a question on whether or not, we could even buy this bridge, if that's gonna be a situation for the electors, then we have to call a special town board meeting, to have the electors fight for that. But again, it would be a town structure, but not in a conventional sense, it's not a building, but it is a structure.
Is that why it's called an asset?
Well, it could be, if you own it, but assets also have expenses, so.
Right.
So, was that a motion you kinda made?
Yeah, I'd like to make a motion, if you're just going to talk about it, it's not gonna answer anything here tonight, we'll answer it later, right?
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second by Barb, discussion?
Could I amend the motion that we potentially either invite the village of East Troy and Waterville at the same time, or?
I'm having
At
a
least
Troy
ask the
meeting
question.
tomorrow, I could ask that question, they were copied on this. And the main reason the village was copied on this was that, at one time they owned everything, okay, and then they sold it. And the question was, at one time, did they sell everything? Well, I think we answered that. I got the Tri meeting tomorrow, I could ask, Scott Seeger, if they could come to that meeting, I can't order them to.
I think the motion was pretty general and not too specific. I was under the impression that with authority, whoever we felt was a player that we could bring to the table to
Okay.
discuss it, we could.
Okay.
I don't think anybody going, I think everyone should be welcome, go ahead.
All right, any further discussion?
I just agree with Michelle Reyes.
Anybody else?
Try to get them to come.
Yeah, and again, I don't see anybody, volunteering here, but until they actually see what the issue is, They make their form decision like we do. So, okay, no more discussion on the motion, all in favor say aye. Aye, opposed? 0. Okay. That was exciting. Review audit recommendations, as usual, the, doctors always give a, list to us every year, and, the page number, Kim.
Maybe 11, I think.
Staff recommendations. Yeah, oh, it's there, but I thought, we replaced it in summary. No, I guess that is it, 11 and 12. In the audit
10.
report.
10, 11, 12.
10, 11, 12. Okay. Well, 10 doesn't have any recommendations.
Internal control matters.
Yeah, the missing key control. Adjusting.
Oh, missing
journal
key control.
entries.
Okay.
And we would recommend that a designated employee review the segregation of duties.
Okay, so we're on page 10 of the, book called Reporting and Insights. Okay, this is the question here, basically, Kim, you can correct me here, we'd be hiring another person to review your entries monthly, is that what this is saying?
Where are you gonna put this person?
Well, does it require another person? It just says segregation of duties, and we have 3 employees right now, right?
Chris has no financial background,
Okay.
so she doesn't even do court spreadsheets.
So you are doing the bulk of the activity, right? Could Joanne be
She's the,
Joanne?
reviewer?
deputy.
Yeah, Joanne is my deputy, she does all the encoding of the, invoices and stuff like that, reviews stuff, she does all the sanitary district, all the landfill district, you have to remember she only works 12 hours a week. So,
What would this take? I know, and Joanne actually doesn't want to work for a call, I think that's another issue, right?
she's 81 years old.
81 years old.
Is it not the case that,
But you have to remember
if you have a
that,
separate clerk and treasurer, then you don't even have to have an audit?
but it's still good practice.
Oh,
to
I'm
have
just
an audit.
asking, I'm just.
Yeah,
we
I
still
mean,
do it.
technically by law, you're absolutely
You're
100%
exempt from it. Otherwise,
correct,
you would have.
but having an audit is necessary.
An extra level.
It's just good.
Yeah.
Yes,
Okay.
absolutely. I mean, yes, there's cost to it, but it's,
I just thought it would help alleviate your burden and yet maybe save some
even
money.
communities that have separate still have audits,
Yeah,
so.
okay.
And you have to remember what Wendy said, the auditor said at the last meeting that she was here, that this is very typical for communities our size, have one person that does it all. The only, I mean, I can talk to Joanne, but she could do, and I don't know if it would be enough, I'd have to talk to the auditor, but Joanne could do like the physical balancing the stuff on paper, but that's a lot of hours.
Well, what if we look at it when we get to the 2021 budget planning? And think about, I'm assuming Joanne will wanna retire sometime,
Probably.
and what other resources would be needed as we look at the
And-
twenty
and I
twenty-one
know-
budget.
And I know we talked about this about the communication committee also, but I need more than 12 hours a week. Obviously, I cannot get everything done. So if cause Joanne's contract goes through the end of 2023. If we hired another person with the intent that that person would become closer to full-time with benefits at the end, or at the beginning of 2024, that maybe you could find somebody who could come in and start picking up and could be a real backup to me, because, and I've told Joe many times that if something happens to me,
Right. We're up.
Yeah,
But that's
It's
why
not-
that's why we're interested in getting someone else in here, because you should be able to go on vacation too, you should be able to take time off, it shouldn't all be, so.
Well, if you train your 5 other county clerks correctly, they could.
and they have offered to help.
So,
They're
yeah, I
like,
agree.
in fact, one of them was here for the recount. So, I mean,
I think the timing is maybe just something that we, like I said, keep in mind for the
And move
2021
into-
budget.
We're
absolutely.
shadowing somebody, so.
Yeah.
But I think we should
It
come
is
up
2021,
now.
we're talking about 2022.
Oh, I'm sorry, 2022 budget.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But that's something that's,
COVID took a year, right?
Yeah, but I would like though is you to have that conversation with whether it's the auditor or Joanne to see what the level of effort would be for this.
Yeah, I'd
I
like
would
to see
say
a follow
that
with
would be
Baker
audited.
Tilly and say, what, we're interested in doing something, can you suggest, right?
suggestions.
Yeah, whether it's adding a staff or if it's.
They might say, you don't, it
temporary,
doesn't need to be
seasonal
that
person.
advanced.
It could be.
Well, I think there's more than just
Basically,
this.
everything I do accounting wise, I do twice. I do it on paper, I do it physically, and I do it in the system, the accounting software. So I'm proofing myself. But-
That's their issue, yeah.
Yeah, but if I had Joanne, and I would have to train her, or a new person came in, I would have to train them, and they could do, say they could do the manual auditing, and I can do the computer part of it, because that, it's a backup. Because, I mean, I can't see not doing both, I mean, that's how I prove myself. Because if it balances on paper, it balances in the system, it balances.
Well, doesn't the auditor wanna see both anyway? Or do they only look at your computer?
They look at the software, but they will pull my physical to
Right.
double check. They don't do a full, like every single month look, but they'll say, okay, I want April for this account, I want June for this one, I want August for that. And they look at the physical to the computer. And in my mind, I'm good because it balances the penny every month. So, but it could be something, and I'll talk to the auditor about it, if that would be a step closer, or what exactly they're looking for to get rid of that specific point.
I think that's what the board needs to know.
Okay, all right, and the next one is capital assets record. This is the one, where, my research said half towns do it and half don't, and I believe the auditor said it's a lot less than that, I don't know. But this
There's
is,
no point to it.
well, that's what was brought up is, how much money do you wanna spend to
And there
get
was
rid of a
some,
line item on the,
right, and there was some discussion about, or comments about things walking away. You don't put into a capital asset plan anything that has a value of less than $5,000. So every single computer is less than $5,000.
you're not gonna lose it for
I think
later.
in this building might be under.
That's entirely possible. But anything, I mean, even equipment wise, I mean, I don't think the boys have a chainsaw that will, is more than $1,000. I mean, it's just, you're not gonna inventory every wrench, socket, screwdriver.
Yeah, and I just checked again quick with just the local towns on here, and I talked to John Kettle about this one, I says, did you ever do it? And he says, yeah, they did for a couple of years, but he said it was so cumbersome to manage, he said they don't do it anymore.
Yeah.
You know, he did not have
Well,
a
and then,
number on what it took to get there.
well, and the point is to do bonds, and we're not gonna do bonds. And to just do it, to lose a paragraph in the audit report that's a lot of money for nothing.
Well,
And I
Well,
think
the
the whole.
quotes for how much it would cost?
Right, how much is it to do
I
it?
think-
Right, I think you have to find out what the numbers are.
Yeah.
Shutting it
And I
down
think the other
without,
point is, like, we did not vote for a new town hall project, but I think, like, if we get to that point, that's gonna have a bunch of assets that we should, so maybe that's when we need to make sure we have a system implemented.
well, I thought, the auditor made some mention about they do this work, or they would assist in this work, or Did she offer?
Yes.
We could, we asked the same question about the other one, ask them, yeah.
The
Now,
fire district had to pay somebody to come in and count.
Inventory.
And I know that it took more than 8 hours of Mike Baruka's time with this person. And they were going through, you know, here's all of our physical wrenches to fix fire equipment and.
So I think that's why we don't do it retroactive, we like pick a point in time and start forward.
Yeah, in 10 years' time, you could probably have a pretty good idea of what.
Because that other stuff is already
Yeah.
depreciated, and so why record it now?
Bob, you have a comment?
I think Michelle made a good point as far as the town hall. I mean, even after last year's annual meeting, a lot of people left and said, we're just not gonna get that town hall, we're gonna move forward with something. Tonight, at, you know, the monthly meeting, there were 10 people standing out in the hallway that couldn't find seating in here. And even if they weren't in the hallway and we didn't have social distancing, this room would have been packed. You know, so I think we need to be able to find at least enough space so that the people who want it can be here without using the fire station.
Or DPW.
Yeah.
John?
I mean, since it was my comment, that you're talking about, I feel somewhat compelled to add context here. I feel like the slippery slope of, like, what I didn't say was you should, document every socket. So I think you're sort of an ad hominem attack, to say that that's what I said. That isn't what I said.
Well, there was some and I don't know, I don't recall who said it, but somebody said something about things walking away. And
Right. And that is a legitimate concern, right? If you don't know what it is that the town is responsible for, if we really don't know what we have and what it's worth, then there's no way to know. I mean, we're in a paradoxical situation.
how do you know that, okay, the guys don't go buy 4 oil filters? Who keeps track of that? They use an oil filter? Do they buy an extra one for their own truck at home? There's no way to keep track of that.
I think we
That
said.
is, I mean,
Yeah.
that isn't what I'm asking, so I don't know why.
Just things that are gonna be depreciated. The point
Right.
is to have it on your stock to depreciate, have it on your system to
Thank you.
depreciate it.
Then you need to
Give
hire an
equity.
accountant. Because Kim is not an accountant. I am a very good bookkeeper. You're gonna increase taxes to do a capital asset and depreciation plan that has no value to me as a
Well,
taxpayer.
Find out how much
In the
it's going to
future,
cost.
yeah, when is the best time, if at all?
Yeah, find out, I mean, they did, they said they help, clients do that, have that discussion with them, ask them from a gentleman with them. Obviously, Greg and other people are gonna have a lot more time with their employees, okay, so that's not as if
So are you
they
gonna,
can do it.
I mean, I'm just gonna make up a number, so you're gonna pay Baker Tilly $6,000 a year to do a capital asset plan that has no benefit to me as a taxpayer.
Then you're gonna ask how much it would cost if they do it and who else could do it.
I
If
just
they have a
don't-
recommendation.
I understand, and
I
again,
will do it, but I don't see the benefit to me as a property.
We're not saying we're going forward with it, we're just getting a number.
To make a decision,
Right.
yes.
and
So,
when, and timing.
All right, votes on revenues, there was a question there, I think the only thing that they mentioned is they were concerned about missing envelopes, I'm going, so what? When the checks go through there, when people check, they have either an annual permit or a daily pass in the window, right, if they don't, they get a ticket, is that how it goes?
There's a ticket, but
So-
there is nothing from stopping Joe Schmo from going through, taking an envelope, throwing an empty envelope into the box and putting that ticket in their window.
Oh, and we have,
Absolutely nothing.
and that's when we have the underages for the year, that how that
Yes.
occurs?
Yeah.
Okay, how,
Although you have to admit, I mean, last year
How
we had
much?
less than $70 an under.
Right, it's usually $100 or less.
Mostly, I mean, the
Yeah.
whole thing's on the honor system, I mean, you're not
Well,
having
yeah.
someone there full-time unless an officer or someone's driving by. Cause there are people that don't grab any ticket and go and watch
That
it.
is true.
You know, I mean,
And sometimes they pay more than they need to.
well, yeah, because you can't get change.
Right.
You know,
It's come with the rate change.
I was like, oh, man.
Yeah, that's true, and that's kind of discussion that we've had for a long time on that, you know, and again,
There was talk about getting one of those things with like, you know, like a parking garage, but the cost of that would be, it's far exceed what we would do, or what we need it for.
and a DNR wouldn't pay for that, but I'll
$100
check.
a year is a low enough risk, I think,
Yeah.
except.
Well, but I will make a call to my favorite people at DNR and just ask them if they ever install those anywhere, you know, and if they pay 100% of it, it might be an issue.
Well, they may argue it prohibits access to the lake, and they wouldn't be in favor of it anyway.
I'll check.
You just, I think it's parking.
Andy? Andy has.
Well, I think, I don't know how many envelopes end up empty.
We just had one today. I
Okay.
didn't have the
Well-
right change, so I'll pay on my
So
way out.
let me
I'm
go-
gonna pay on the way out.
Let me go one step further. How
I
about
can't do
people
that.
who don't
People
park
just drive right down the road.
run down there and put their boat in and take it to their house on the lake? How many of those are there every spring and every fall?
And,
I don't know, like,
450 houses on the lake.
Times how many boats per house?
I get it.